mistake. I always let you back in when I begin to get myself together again. You are back once more, like everything's the same. I tried to build my walls up, but you're taking them down. It's tearing me apart, I can't pretend. Now I have to get over you again. Have to get over you again.
Child, I know you're hurt and you can't let go. It's not your fault and you don't deserve all the bad and the hurt. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. Your life you've tried to be a good man inside. Did everything that you thought you should. Didn't seem to do you any good. I know you've tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. So hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight.
I'm a traveling spirit, I've seen many shores, from the West Pacific to the island of Kenya. They treat me like a son anywhere I go, and even though no one can tell, I still feel that I'm alone. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone. Leave me stranded, I know how to handle it all on my own. On my own.
You're listening to the Jams and Coffee Morning Show with your host, Brad Brock.
Check 1 2 2 2. Hey, can you hear me there? Oh man, there we go. Finally, I tell you what, I need to get some of that duster out, that air duster, and dust my mixing board. It really was a weird night. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in with me here at Jams and Coffee in the morning. I was trying to mention that Monday morning, always a rough one, including me. We had a little impromptu soiree here at the house last night, and it was definitely a struggle to get up here this morning, but here I am. We made it through, and of course, it wasn't without various technical problems. This was just the last of it. I spent the last 15 minutes tracking down other problems. And, yeah, so there you go. I appreciate you tuning in with me here on the show, and happy Monday to you as well. Crazy weekend. Lots of gigs this weekend, and really just overall a good time. I played a new place in Palm City called Townie's Tavern, and that was a cool joint. And then one of my favorite spots, Cork, on Sunday afternoon. For a little brunch hour. So, yeah, it was just a long working week. I got an action-packed day today. I got the show with you guys. I have to go and tour the Margaritaville cruise ship down in West Palm Beach for some logistics planning of a little thing we're putting together in conjunction with some other various moving parts. So stay tuned for more info on that. But I got to go and pretend like I know what I'm talking about down there for the Margaritaville people. Yeah, and then Paul and I are getting together later on for a little to try out a new podcast concept and get a little pilot done. So that's going to be exciting as well. Action-packed day for me today. Just hoping that the weather holds out. So let's see what's going on out there. Looking out the window, it looks clear and nice. But the rain chances will increase today and tomorrow. And upper-level disturbance and extra moisture will combine to increase rain chances. However, with a southeast wind, we'll see some AM showers along the coast with afternoon storms inland. And some of the storms could be on the stronger side today as the upper system moves through. So have a raincoat and know where you're going to take some cover if it starts to get a little wonky out there. Some interesting stuff happened on this day in music history. All the way back to 1983, American heavy metal band Metallica released their debut studio album, Kill 'Em All. The release is regarded as a groundbreaking album for thrash metal because of its precise musicianship, which fuses new wave British heavy metal riffs with hardcore punk tempos. Metallica making their debut today, official studio, because they had a million mixtapes before that. But back in 1980, on this day, AC/DC released their 6th internationally released studio album, Back in Black. This, of course, was the first AC/DC album recorded without former lead singer Bon Scott, who died February of 1980 at the very young age of 33. My God. The album has sold an estimated 49 million copies worldwide to date, making it the second highest-selling album of all time, and the best-selling hard rock or heavy metal album ever. So, congratulations to AC/DC. 1980. What were you doing in 1980? I was not doing anything. I was floating around my consciousness in the cosmos. Back in 1980. A couple celebrity birthdays today. Matt LeBlanc from Friends is 55. And Estelle Getty, one of the original Golden Girls, she sadly passed away many years ago, but she would be 99. And she played the little old lady in Golden Girls. And would you know that she was younger, in fact, than Betty White? I found that interesting. She was a firecracker, and if you know me at all, you know that Jordan and I love Golden Girls so much, so much. Oh, yeah. We got some national days as well. It's National Wine and Cheese Day. So if you ever needed a reason for a charcuterie board and to drink a bottle of wine, today's the day to do it. It's also National Hire a Veteran Day. So if you're out there looking for employees, hiring a veteran is encouraged today. It's also National Hot Fudge Sundae Day. Day. So I might have to get on that while I'm touring the Margaritaville boat. It's National Merry-Go-Round Day, in case you want to get dizzy. And National Thread the Needle Day. You got any loose buttons? Today's the day to tighten them up. Well, we got tons of interesting stuff to talk about. And speaking of wine, a question that you may be asking yourself today on National Wine and Cheese Day: does wine help you live longer? Well, we're going to find out next here on JNC in the morning. I'll be right back.
Gotta get your shit together for real this time. You felt so alone out there on the West Coast, and I bet it feels damn good
stop. You're so over it, you're so cool. And the cat's pajamas, they just look good on you. I can't get over it, how you walking around. And immediately everybody just snaps to you. High school, all the freshmen never talked to girls like you. Now I'm in community college. Here you are at the end of the shithole locals bar, wearing your Metallica t-shirt, driving me as crazy as ever. You're so over it, you're so cool. And the cat's pajamas, they just look good on you. I can't get over it, how you walking around. And immediately everybody just snaps to you. You're so over it, you're so cool. And the cat's pajamas, they just look good on you. I can't get over it, how you walking around. And immediately everybody just snaps to you. Waited for some time for a morning with you. All I want is you by my side. And I don't think I can go on dreaming of you. Boy, you better get your ass on that flight. 'Cause I need a Saturday morning. Saturday morning, yeah, I need a Saturday morning. Tangled up in you. 'Cause I need a Saturday morning. Saturday morning, yeah, I need a Saturday morning. Tangled up in you. Cause lately, no, I ain't been sleeping. Cause my phone just keeps on beeping. Let's go somewhere for the weekend. Take a dive into the deep end. Cause I'll go anywhere with you. So baby, tell me what you need. You ain't gotta say please. Just get underneath these covers and I'll roll us up some trees and wait. We could stay right here all day. 'Cause I need a Saturday morning. Saturday morning, I need a Saturday morning. Tangled up in you. 'Cause I need a Saturday morning.
sweet lovers, oh so glad we had so many Saturdays in love. 'Cause it's you, oh you know it's you, girl, that I've always been thankful to. Oh, it's you, oh, it's you. When I spend my life, ooh, with you.
Darling, there's so much we could do, but Friday's on and I wanna watch it with you. I need a Saturday morning, Saturday morning. I need a Saturday morning, tangled up in you. I need a Saturday morning. I need a Saturday morning. I need a Saturday morning, tangled up in you. I need a Saturday morning, I need a Saturday morning, tangled up in you. I need a
That's Victoria Lee with Saturday Morning. Welcome back to the show. Thanks again for tuning in here. Of course, the JNC hotline is open at 772-888-1596. Got anything to add or anything that you'd like to talk about, hit me up. We were asking, does wine help you live longer? And we're going to answer that question. And I think we're still having some audio problems here. I'm going to get this sorted out, you guys, and I'll be right back. Thank you for your patience this morning. Not sure why everything's breaking, but here we go.
Pick up the frequency, the video energy. Ask no question, let the rhythm be the remedy. Can't silence me, can't silence my enemies. Who's meant to be will always be. This is your destiny. They can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. Nah, nah, no, nah, nah, no. 'Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no, oh no. Obligation controls the population. No imitation, you know that we're not faking. You give my mind right, free my soul. So I am singing upon the microphone, and they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. No, 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 they can't stop us now. Nah, nah, no, nah, nah, no. 'Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no. Some reasons, spitting verses through the mind like it's my purpose. Never perfect, open a curtain, call the masses. Use your imagination and imagine a nation singing. They can't stop us, no. No, 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 they can't stop us, no. No, 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 they can't stop us, no. Nah, nah, no. Nah, nah, no. 'Cause I've been singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Singing it like a la ba ba la ba. Oh no, oh no. They can't stop us, no.
All right. We're back. Hopefully this is a little bit better. Man, I tell you what, you can't win sometimes with technology, and I feel like that's got to be a story pretty soon. But once again, thank you for joining me here. Hopefully that volume's a little bit better there. We were asking the question, does wine help you live longer? And the truth is, you guys, a glass of wine a day keeps the doctor away. Or does it? From the French to the Sardinians, cultures in which people tend to drink wine daily have famously low rates of heart disease and lead longer lives on average than Americans do. But does drinking wine actually help you live longer? The belief that a daily glass of vino accounts for the health and longevity of those living in wine-centered food cultures goes back to a 1992 paper that called this phenomenon the French paradox, pointing to wine as an explanation. Today, however, our understanding of wine and its health benefits is more nuanced. And there is some evidence that drinking wine protects against certain health conditions, but the evidence that it leads to a longer life is pretty thin. At least according to Adrian Barachuk, a professor of cardiology at Queen's University School in Ontario. He said studies of alcohol are limited in their design. For starters, much of the research on red wine and mortality don't focus on wine itself. Rather, the research investigates the health effects of polyphenols, a type of antioxidant in wine. These chemicals shield cells from damage caused by unstable molecules called free radicals, which are associated with heart disease and cancer risk, and have been proposed as one potential reason for wine's purportedly positive health effects. When an international team of researchers pooled the results of 22 studies and analyzed them as a whole, they found that people who consumed 800 milligrams of flavonoids, which is one type of polyphenol found in wine, as well as most fruits and vegetables, per day, had a 24% lower risk of death within the study period compared to those who consumed no flavonoids. There are 2017 results published in the American Journal of Epidemiology. Man, these words are fun. I'm learning so much reading these articles. That study found that this difference dropped by 6% for every 100 milligrams decreased in flavonoid consumption. So, for example, people who consumed only 700 milligrams had an 18% lower risk of death. The problem is that 800 milligrams is a lot of flavonoids. And you'd have to drink gallons and gallons of wine to benefit. At least according to Bill Klein, Associate Director of the National Cancer Institute's Behavioral Research Program. Klein studies behavioral risk factors for cancer and has published papers on the health effects of alcohol. In one study published in 2001 in the Journal of Nutrition, participants who consumed 750 milliliters of wine, and that's about 4 6-ounce glasses, ingested only about 24 milligrams of dietary flavonoids. And based on that result, to get 800 milligrams per day, you guessed it, math whizzes out there, you'd need to drink 133 glasses of wine. Dun, dun, dun. It sounds like a challenge. Plus, there are other potentially healthier sources of polyphenols. The Journal of Nutrition study found that participants ingested more polyphenols when eating onions. But still, that's if I had to choose between wine and onions, well, if you know me, the answer is clear. There is some evidence that drinking moderate amounts of wine is heart healthy. Around 2 glasses 5 days per week for men, or 1 glass 5 days a week for women. The guidelines recommended by the American Heart Association seem to raise good cholesterol, reduce the risk of blood clots, help to prevent artery damage caused by bad cholesterol and improve the function of the layer of cells that line the blood vessels compared to people who don't drink at all. Part of that benefit to cardiovascular health may be due to the effects of the polyphenols. But these benefits are more likely attributable to ethanol, which is present in all alcoholic beverages. An analysis pooling the results of 42 studies that found 30 milligrams of ethanol per day, and that's around 2 drinks, those of you keeping up, increases HDL cholesterol, and that's the good kind, and polyprop protein, AI, main protein found in HDL. However, all those benefits get first attenuated and then reversed if you drink above the recommended guidelines. So, what they're saying is if you drink a little, you're good to go. If you drink a lot, you're reversing those positive effects that were coming in the first place. So another question posed is a glass of wine a day bad for you? Now, the problem is that heart disease isn't the only factor in health and longevity. And the alcohol in wine may negate any benefit from the polyphenols at all. Unfortunately, there isn't much evidence that alcohol provides a protective effect. There's much more evidence that it's a risk factor. Well, while evidence that wine lowers mortality within a given time period is thin, there's very strong evidence linking any amount of alcohol to breast cancer, liver cancer, prostate cancer, and cirrhosis, among other diseases. That might be because alcohol changes the way body processes estrogen, leading levels of this hormone to rise. Another potential explanation is acetaldehyde, a byproduct of alcohol's breakdown in the body, has been shown to cause DNA damage. We just can't win. Drinkers in the world, we just can't win out there. In the end, if you aren't in the habit of drinking a glass of wine a day, or if you just prefer a beer, there's no reason to take up the habit for your heart health. Instead, try yoga or meditation, at least according to Baranchuk. He said they have way more solid evidence than what alcohol has. However, if you already enjoy a glass of wine most nights and are unsure about your habits' effects on your health, check with your doctor, particularly if you have any underlying health conditions. But for most people who drink moderately, there's no need to stop. We balance pros and cons of risk all the time. For example, let's say your office is 25 minutes from your home. Driving those 25 minutes increases mortality 0.005%. Are you going to say, I'm not going to go to work anymore, even though I love my job and it brings income? No, you say, I accept the risk. And, cheers, National Wine and Cheese Day. I accept the risk, and I will have my glass of wine later today. All right. So... So, Japan had an interesting weekend. I don't know if you guys saw this story, but apparently Japan's Sakurajima volcano erupted over the weekend. It's located on the island of Kyushu, and it erupted on Sunday, prompting evacuations in the region. The Japan meteorological, woo, that's a good one, first thing in the morning, huh? Agency, we'll call it the JMA, said the volcano erupted around 8:05 p.m. local time there, about 7 o'clock in the morning Sunday here. Footage from the agency's surveillance camera showed a cloud of smoke or ash rising from the volcano. The JME announced a level 5 alert, the highest level, calling for people to evacuate. They cautioned residents in Kagoshima Prefecture and Kagoshima City. There were no immediate reports of damage or casualties. Japan's nuclear regulators said that there's No irregularities that were detected at a nearby by the nearby Sendai nuclear plant. According to NASA, Sakurajima is one of Japan's most active volcanoes, having erupted on several occasions in recent decades. It previously erupted in January, spewing a cloud of ash into the air. The volcano is located in the Kagoshima prefecture on the southern tip of Japan. So hopefully that doesn't become more of a problem. But yeah, wild, right? We just had that story. We had what was it, on Friday? We had that story about that kid that dropped his phone into the Mount Vesuvius. Volcanoes in the news. Volcanoes in the news. Check it out. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, I have an update of a story that we were talking about last week. You remember the woman who woke up out of a 2-year coma after being found left for dead, hatcheted in her home? 2 years in the coma, she wakes up and she announced that it was her brother that tried to kill her. Well, there is an update to the story. I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to come back from the break here. So thanks for joining me here on JNC in the morning. Hopefully we got most of our technical snafus knocked out. Let me know if anything else is wonky out there, but I think it's okay in here so far. Here's one from Vern Dazel.
You're riding on a high called ego, serving up a high buffet, sipping on your lies, but you don't know. I don't believe a word you say, drowning on your own. Still you ask for more. Blindly on your throne, feasting on the empty praise, but still you say, feed me. You're lost inside your own illusions, the king of your own fantasy, swimming in your own solution, lost in a world of make-believe, drowning on your own, but still you ask for more. Blindly on your throne, feasting on the empty praise, but still you say, feed me. Drowning on your own, but still you ask for more. Blindly on your throne, feasting on the empty praise.
That's it. Aerowant. Single off of their brand new EP, Dragon. Available anywhere that you stream music or buy digital downloads. Crazy story, you guys. We reported on this last week, I think. Maybe the week before. I don't know. But it was the craziest story. We were talking about Wanda Palmer, who woke up after being in a coma for 2 years and announcing that it was her brother, Daniel Palmer, who attacked her and put her in that state. Well, news broke that, in fact, it was the Jackson County Sheriff, Ross Mellinger, confirmed that Daniel Palmer has died. He died on Thursday at a hospital in Charleston, West Virginia, after being admitted a few days earlier. West Virginia Department of Homeland Security Deputy General Counsel, mouthful, Morgan Switzer said in a statement, inmate Palmer was uncooperative while in custody and during the booking procedures at the jail. And on Wednesday, July 20th, 2022, he was transported to the general hospital there after an evaluation by jail medical staff. And his death came just days after he was arrested for allegedly attacking his sister Wanda with a weapon at her home in Cottageville, West Virginia, back in June of 2020. The investigators had no leads until they received a call from the long-term care home where she regained consciousness last week and identified her brother. In a statement on Facebook, Jackson County, West Virginia Sheriff's Department said that Wanda Palmer woke after 2 years of being hospitalized and in a coma resulting from being attacked, hacked, and left for dead. Wanda Palmer is now awake to see her assailant in custody, her brother Daniel Palmer. Daniel Palmer is charged with attempted murder and malicious wounding following the 2020 incident near Cottageville. Officials believe Daniel Palmer, 55 years old, carried out the attack with a machete or a hatchet. And Sheriff Mellinger also told Metro News that Daniel Palmer's overall health wasn't a strong suit to begin with, so his death doesn't come as a complete shock. He said from an investigator standpoint, it's certainly disheartening. We at least close the case, but anytime you make an arrest, you want to see it through with a conviction and ultimately an appropriate sentence. At the end of the day, we feel comfortable we did our job and did it well, and really the attention should move forward to the victim in the case. That's what this is all about anyway, is her perseverance and her strength. And I agree with that. But yeah, it's wild that they got this guy after all that time just for him to die in custody. I mean, I guess if you're going to have any kind of justice at all, that's part of it. Local news here in Florida. Mini season is on its way. Florida Spiny Lobster mini season is coming very, very soon. It's, of course, a 2-day event. And it happens the 27th, the 28th. I mean, it's traditionally the last consecutive Wednesday and Thursday in July. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the scary part of mini season. This is the 5 most common ways to die and how to stay safe during Florida's lobster mini season. And it happens every year. Hundreds of thousands of divers throughout the country get excited for the 48-hour sprint for some of Florida's tastiest crustaceans. The mad dash for spiny lobster begins and finishes at night. It takes place along the Sunshine State's coastlines from Port Canaveral to Key West and to St. Petersburg. Throughout much of that range, divers try to find the clawless bugs under ledges, along coral reefs, inside shipwrecks, or along broken, collapsed seawalls from inshore waters as shallow as thigh deep to offshore waters 100 feet deep. The problem is not everyone who leaves the dock returns. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. unfortunately. Several more don't come home in one piece. What follows are several ways to be sure you and your loved ones get back to the docks so you can be among those who share off their catches. First up here, don't get lost. The problem. Two divers are so lucky they should have bought lottery tickets. Neither of them would talk to TC Palm about their July 9th incident, but the anglers who found them drifting at sea did. He said some form of communication mishap resulted in two divers drifting in the Gulf Stream currents without the boat that dropped them off. A few more hours and the two may have been lost at sea forever, even after an extensive Coast Guard search. In the early 2000s, a Vero Beach diver left the dock with friends but never returned and never was seen again. So what's the solution? Be sure to make sure the boat stays with the divers at all times. Listen, like any seasoned diver or anybody who's even just gone through being certified knows the routine. You know, and even if you're out there free diving and you don't have the buoy, you know, if you're a good boat captain, you should follow the bubbles and make sure you stay obviously with your divers. So that's what a mess. Number 2 here, don't get hit by the boat. An example of that problem in 2021, a man was severely injured when he was struck by a moving vessel. The boat's propeller sliced the man up pretty good. He survived his injuries, but that isn't always the case. Lobster mini-season results in crowded waterways, particularly along reef structures where lobsters are known to hang out. The solution to this is always watch carefully when surfacing. Boat operators should also be aware of divers surfacing without warning. They should stay 300 feet from their divers, and other boats should not operate within the 300-foot safety zone of another boat. Offshore and even 100 feet if it's in inshore waters. Even more of a tight area there. So important. And we see it all the time out there. You see news articles. You see it when you're out there going to the sandbar. Just people parking their boats wherever the hell they want on protected seagrass, anywhere. It's lawless out in the lagoons and in the sandbars. So just be careful in your own right and watch out for the idiots, because Lord knows there's so many. Here's one that's makes a little bit of common sense. Don't have cardiac arrest. No heart attacks out there. An example of that problem in diving for lobsters is a much more strenuous physical activity than people think. Essentially, a diver searching for lobsters is swimming all day. In 2021, there were 2 deaths, and one was attributed to cardiac arrest. A man in his early 50s. It happens nearly every year. Divers charge after lobsters, but don't consider that they are straining their out-of-shape bodies to the limits and beyond. Fat guys just man the cooler. That's what I do out there on the boats. I just man the cooler, let the other people go and look for bugs. The people that are a little trimmer, a little in better shape. The solution, of course, is be certain that you're in shape to swim for long periods of time and take breaks. Scuba divers carrying gear are even more at risk, so always dive with a buddy. Number 4 on this list is don't illegally spear anything. An example of that problem in 2006. This is an example of how karma will get you. A man free diving for lobster during the mini season got a spear gun and aimed it at a Goliath grouper. Spearing that species of fish is currently prohibited. The 42-year-old man shot the fish, which wrapped his wrist in the line and ran for its hole, pinning the man to the seafloor. The fish and the man died, according to one report. So the simple solution for that is when you're diving for lobster, leave the spear guns at home. Could you imagine being drugged to the bottom of the ocean by a Goliath grouper? Like, that's a big fish. And, yeah, that would be terrible. Get stuck down there. And finally here, don't get bitten by a shark. I think that's probably the most important and in one of the biggest threats out there. Example of that problem is they say this never happens. Oh, bye, Jordan. They say this never happens, but the author is listing it in case it ever does. Also, there have been a lot of shark versus human activity in the past month. And in related news, on June 30th in Satellite Beach, 17-year-old Addison Bethea suffered a severe shark bite while she was in 9 feet of water, scallop diving in Florida's Big Bend area. Sadly, surgeons were unable to save her right leg. Her parents said they're lucky their daughter survived. 2 people were bitten by sharks this month in the Florida Keys, where some 40,000 divers are expected to search for lobsters during mini-season. The solution to this, obviously, is keep a lookout and treat all ominous sea life with a healthy dose of respect. Because guess what? They live there, and you are intruding on their space. So I've always felt that way. Philip said he caught a Goliath fishing under the Jensen Beach Causeway. That's awesome. Good eating those Goliath grouper. That makes me want a grouper sandwich. I'm just a fat guy and I'm hungry. Here are the Florida lobster regulations. Of course, as I mentioned, July 27th and 28th is the mini season. The regular season starts in August 6th, and goes on through March 31st. Size limit is a 3-inch carapace, the head section from between the horns over the eyeballs to where the head joins the tail, and it's measured in the water. Measuring device must be in possession of the diver at all times. Bag limit, of course, is 12 per person per day during the sports season, except in Monroe County and Biscayne National Park, where the limit is 6. 6 per person per day statewide during regular season. License requirements: saltwater fishing license plus $5 lobster harvest stamp. Standard. Other restrictions is no egg-bearing females may be harvested or possessed. No night diving is allowed in Monroe County during sports season. Possession limits are enforced on and off the water. Sports season harvest of lobster is prohibited in Johns Pennekamp Coral Reef State Park and the Everglades National Park, Dry Tortugas National Park, and no-take areas in the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. Rules apply both in both season at Biscayne Bay and Card Sound Lobster Sanctuary. You of course can get the complete regulations at myfwc.com/lobster. Jordan joining us there in the chats. Good morning, JT. Yeah, lobster season. A funny story is me and Johnny Ringo from the Code Rum Company, we went out lobstering. This is years ago, back in 2016, and we went down for mini season. We were working down there in the Keys, but it happened to be mini season, so we went out and gave it the old college try. We had a little boat trouble, so we weren't able to get too far or into any of the good spots, but we tried it. And I am not an avid diver or snorkeler or water person at all. So I am not. I'm not out there trying to. And I've told this story before, but I'm a sailor. I like to be on top of the water. I will stay on the boat. I will man the cooler. I will make sure that nobody gets lost. But Ringo convinced me to try to go down with I guess I forget what it's called, but it's an air tank that sits on the boat, and it's just a really long hose, and you just have the regulator, and you go down. And my buoyant ass couldn't even get under the water. I couldn't get my ass under the water before I panicked and gave up. I was like, no, this is not for me. Not to mention we had drank quite a bit the night before, and I was just not feeling it. It was super hot. The water was hot. There was like barely a breeze. Middle of summer. It was hardcore, and I was not having it. So, needless to say, I don't think we got a single bug on that trip. But as I said, we're not getting to the good spots. So. Yeah, interesting story I'm going to talk to you about when I come back. Apparently, the government's getting serious about UFOs. We'll tell you why here when we come back. You're listening to Jams and Coffee in the Morning. Thanks for tuning in with me. Let's see. What do we want to play? Here's one from our good friend Bob Green. We'll be right back.
Sorry I can't stay, and I can see it in your face. Start to wonder if I am really worth your time. What can I say since that I never feel in place? Tell me why pieces just too hard to find. Don't wanna lose this chance with you. Got something I got left to do. Promise it won't take too long, and I'll be back real soon. Stars will align, just give me a tell that next full moon. Can't say I'm surprised by the silence in your eyes. I know you think you must be such a fool. I'm telling you no lies. Gonna see alibis. Just gonna put away all of my ghosts and ghosts. Don't wanna lose this chance with you. I got something I got left to tell. Promise it won't take too long, and I'll be back real soon. The stars will align, just give me a tell that next full moon. The stars will align, just give me a tell that next full moon. Hey! Promise I'll be back, and don't you worry about that. Nothing can keep me away from you. But if you can't wait, then I will understand your pain, and I'll be so quietly with you. Don't want to lose this chance with you. Got something I got left to tell. Promise it won't take too long, and I'll be back real soon. Our stars will align, just give me a tell that next full moon. I don't wanna lose this chance with you. I got something I got left to tell. Promise it won't take too long, and I'll be back real soon. Stars will align, just give me a tell that next full moon. The stars will align, just give me a tell that next full moon. Our stars will align, just give me a tell that next full moon.
pointless fight sent me towards me. This is what waits for me in a love like ours. Oh, yeah. These days, the only time we meet is pulling up the sheets. You know it's killing me. Lives divided, conversations on a time limit. Oh, something's gotta give in this love like ours. Wait for you, it's taking a toll. It's a weight that's too heavy to hold. Losing my grip, but the drop is too far. Times are getting hard in this love like ours. Oh, this love like ours, yeah. Times are getting hard in this love like ours. Oh, yeah, yeah. Ooh. Making plans in advance, hoping that we get the chance for time. Just one night would be alright, so you could mix your love with mine. Oh, no place to be, no friend to need, no complicated scenery. Just you and me is all I need in this love like ours. Just to wait for you, it's taking a toll. It's a weight that's too heavy to hold. Losing my grip, but the drop is too far. Times are getting hard in this love like ours. Oh, this love like ours. Hearts can soldier on. Mine has trouble when you're gone. Hearts can soldier on. Mine has trouble when you're gone. Just to wait for you is taking a toll. It's a weight that's too heavy to hold. I'm losing my grip, but the drive is too far. Times are getting hard in this love like ours.
All right, welcome back. GNC in the morning. I am Brad Brock. I'm your host. Hotline's open. JNC hotline, of course, 772-888-1596. You got anything to add? Also an announcement. I am working on getting the show back onto a radio app. So it will be coming back to the Live 365 radio app. So it's a little bit easier to connect when you're driving, and if you just want to listen, you can't watch it. So that's going to be happening probably tomorrow. And of course, it'll be a full-fledged radio station. So there'll be music all day, and we'll be adding, of course, on Wednesday nights, you'll be able to listen to the JNC podcast, the Jams and Cocktails podcast there, and some other podcasts. We're going to work on getting Paul's live streams on there, and other various shows. So it's going to be predominantly talk, but there'll be music there as well. Great local music here, and other great hits played as well. And that'll be JNC Radio on the Live 365 app. That should be up and running tomorrow morning. So just another easier way to listen to the shows and listen to some good music here without having to put on YouTube on your phone when you're driving or whatever. So True Radio. A story I was reading, the government getting serious about UFOs. I saw a hearing on this recently, probably within the last month or so. But the Pentagon is officially opening an office focused exclusively on investigating UFO sightings, according to a statement released by the U.S. Department of Defense on July 20th. A new office named the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the AARO, will serve as a central hub that collects, investigates, and manages reports of UFO sightings across the Department of Defense, which includes the U.S. Army, Navy, and Air Force. The office will synchronize the federal government's efforts to detect, identify, and attribute objects of interest, and, as necessary, to mitigate any associated threats to safety of operations and national security, according to the statement. This includes anomalous, unidentified space, airborne, submerged, and transmedium objects. What's a transmedium object? It's one capable of seamlessly moving between land, air, and sea, like a UFO that was seen plunging out of the sky and into the ocean in eerie footage captured by the U.S. Navy back in July of 2019. Where are we at here? The U.S. government is taking a renewed interest in UFOs over the past several years, following the 2017 leak of 3 now infamous video clips showing mysterious wingless craft soaring at hypersonic speeds past some dumbfounded U.S. Navy pilots. The U.S. Navy officially confirmed and declassified the videos in April of 2020, but has provided no explanation for what the mysterious objects might be. 2020, the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence called for an inquiry into UFOs, or unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAP, as the government prefers to call them, citing concerns that there was no unified government approach for collecting and analyzing reports of such sightings. In June 2021, the Pentagon released a report on more than 140 UFO sightings by Navy pilots, and concluded that there was no evidence of alien activity in any of these instances. Right. Numerous Freedom of Information Act requests have also resulted in more than 1,500 pages of UFO-related materials being released by the government, including strange reports that certain UFO encounters reportedly left witnesses with radiation burns and unaccounted-for pregnancy. Funding for the new office has been provided by the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2022, and essentially a federal law that specifies the DoD's budgets and prioritizes the next fiscal year. The new office will be run by Sean M. Kirkpatrick, the chief scientist at the Defense Intelligence Agency's Missile and Space Intelligence Center, according to that statement. So they are getting serious. We are figure out what these UFOs are. And yeah, Philip, the Live 365 app, it's completely free, and you can enjoy our radio station, plus there's many, many others on there. It's just like the iHeartRadio app, but it's curated by real people. So there's some interesting stuff on there. We'll miss you in the chats, but you still have the hotline. So if there's anything that you really need to get to us, you can give us a shout there too. But yeah, I figured it'd be a lot easier with a radio app for some people to listen in the morning or whenever, really. And Paul says, so that's where babies come from, space. And you are correct, Paul. That is absolutely right. Babies are from space. I feel like that should be a book. I should write that book. Babies are from space. I think it would be a New York Times bestseller, to be honest with you. Since we've been talking so much about drinking today, I think it would only be appropriate to get into our top 10 list, which is a good one. This one is for any of our bartenders out there. I know that Paul used to moonlight as a bartender, and I thought that this was an interesting collection here. So without further ado, let's dive right into our JNC top 10 list. That's right. This is 10 things you didn't know about your favorite bar drinks. Yes. Drinking has always been one of America's favorite pastimes. Bars, taverns, pubs, and the like have been around since the earliest parts of history. The intersection of various cultures throughout time has led to the exchange of various liquors and recipes all over the world. The sharing of liquors has led to the cornucopia of craft cocktails and pieces of modern alcoholic artwork. Have you ever stopped to wonder just where your favorite drink comes from? Well, if you're a history buff who loves alcohol, this list is for you. Number 10, the Old Fashioned. For whiskey connoisseurs, this is the ultimate cocktail. A great tasting, well-balanced cocktail that is essentially a celebration of whiskey on your palate. However, you may not know that this cocktail is not only rich in flavor, but it's rich in history. The invention of this masterpiece is credited to a barkeep named James E. Pepper all the way back in 1880. An article written in 2005 in the Louisville Courier-Journal indicates that Pepper invented the drink in Louisville. And he took the concoction to New York City, specifically the Waldorf Astoria Hotel Bar, where it blossomed in popularity. This is credited as the birthplace of the Old Fashioned. However, some detractors of this story point to a book written in 1862 by Jerry Thomas as proof that the recipe existed prior to 1880. Although Thomas's Bartender's Guide How to Mix Drinks does mention a similar cocktail, it uses gin in lieu of whiskey, thus changing the entire complexion of the drink. While the origins of this craft cocktail can be debated, there is no question that it is one of the most popular bar drinks served to this day. This one's for you, Paul. Number 9 is the daiquiri. Despite being widely considered a chick drink, quote unquote, the daiquiri surprisingly has manly origins cut to the 17th century when the British and the Spanish aggressively patrolled the seas, hunting pirates and trying desperately to expand their rule. Sailors of the naval ships battled long journeys with bad weather and seasickness. To help cope with this, the sailors were allotted 3.8 liters, which is a gallon, of beer per day per man by law. The problem was that many of these ships were patrolling the Caribbean, with Nassau being known as a pirate hotspot, some 7,200 kilometers away. Stocking enough beer for a journey that long, let alone restocking it from so far away, posed a great logistical problem. The solution, of course, came in the form of rum. It was decided that 473 milliliters, that's 1 pint of rum, which was widely available in the Caribbean at that time, was a fair substitute. Unfortunately, the rum was much more potent, and the soldiers' productivity, as you can imagine, declined drastically because they were really drunk. In 1740, Naval Admiral Edward Old Grog Vernon began diluting the liquor with water and lime juice to help his crew stay more sober. And those ingredients, of course, are the base of what became known as the daiquiri. Technically, Jennings Cox is credited with the invention of the daiquiri. He ran out of gin while hosting guests and used rum as a substitute, calling it the daiquiri after the name of a beach on the island of Cuba. However, that's far less cool than drunken pirate hunters. Number 8 on this list is the Manhattan. Now, would you believe that this cocktail was invented at a party for Winston Churchill's mother? Even though this was a popular rumor about the origin of the Manhattan, this theory holds little weight. Lady Randolph Churchill was back in England and already pregnant with Winston at the time this drink rose to prominence. The Manhattan Club in New York still claims ownership of the original recipe, but there are whispers of a man simply called Black who invented the drink while working at the Hoffman House of New York. While the exact details are up for debate, all experts agree that the Manhattan originated in New York, the Big Apple. Number 7, the Martini. Yes, the origins of this drink have more theories and plot twists than a James Bond film. With multiple unverifiable competing origin stories, the rule of writing is that the coolest story always wins out. So here goes. gold miner in Martinez, California, struck it rich in the early 1800s and naturally decided to hit the local bar to celebrate. He ordered champagne, but the bar didn't have any. So he said, "Make me the fanciest concoction you can think of." The bartender threw a few ingredients together in a glass, and the miner loved it. He asked the bartender to tell him what's in it. Then the miner traveled to San Francisco, asked for this drink at another bar, and taught the bartender there how to make it. Originally known as the Martinez Special, the martini was born. And, of course, it's still around today. This alcoholic artistry has become a golden classic. I am a big fan of martinis. I don't discriminate. I love vodka martinis. I love gin martinis. I love a combination. I love them dirty. Real dirty. Number 6 on the list is the margarita. Now, of course, the margarita is one popular drink that has 3 competing theories about its invention. Margarita Sams was a rich girl from Dallas, Texas. She claimed that she invented the drink while vacationing in Acapulco with her friends in 1948. One of her friends, Tommy Hilton, of the same family that owns the Hilton hotel chain, was so impressed by the drink that he put it on the hotel bar drinks menus. However, as Jose Cuervo was already an established tequila brand that actively endorsed the margarita starting in 1945, it's highly unlikely that Margarita invented the namesake drink. There are some who swear by this story, though, because rich people with power and influence would never lie. Another claim is held by Danny Negrete. He supposedly made this cocktail as a wedding gift for his sister-in-law, who also happened to be named Margarita. And finally, we have Mexican bartender Don Carlos Orozco. God, I suck at talking today. I blame Jordan. He reportedly made this drink for the daughter of a German ambassador. She was also named Margarita. It's worth pointing out that there was a similar drink that became highly popular during Prohibition called the Daisy. Coincidentally, Margarita is Spanish for daisy. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I just learned something new today. Number 5 on this list. These were flowing last night. I can't believe that there were so many of these being drank at my house. But the Moscow Mule. And just like the Manhattan is from Manhattan, the Moscow Mule must be from Moscow, right? Wrong. Although the exact origin of this drink is unknown, the owners of the Los Angeles pub Cock and Bull brought the drink to popularity in the 1940s. However, in an article published in 2007 in the Wall Street Journal, Wes Price, the head bartender for the Cock and Bull, claims that he invented the recipe. Whatever the case, the Moscow Mule jump-started the popularity of vodka within the United States. Number 4, the Sex on the Beach. Brown chicken, brown cow. The origins of this drink are ironclad. Its terrible name, along with alligators and hurricanes, can be traced to one place. You guessed it, Florida. A bar called Confetti's is credited with the invention. Apparently, one of their bartenders made the fruity drink and thought, what's the most ridiculous, basic, non-creative name I could think of for this? Oh, hey, look. There's a couple having sex on the beach. I've got it. Sex on the beach. Admittedly, we can't be sure that's exactly how it went down, but we are talking about Florida here, so it seems pretty accurate. Number 3 on this list, the Cosmopolitan. Cosmo was actually a symbolic drink in the gay community in the 1970s when it was first introduced. The drink is credited to bartender Cheryl Cook, who worked in South Beach, another Florida drink. As the story goes, a customer asked her to craft a drink that made him look sophisticated, but was sweeter and less harsh than the traditional martini. The cocktail crafted by Cook became known as the Cosmopolitan. At the same time, John Kane, a bartender in Provincetown, had created a similar drink. Kane took the drink with him to San Francisco, where it exploded in popularity in the gay social scene. Number 2 on the list, the Whiskey Sour. Jerry Thomas's Bartender Guide How to Mix Drinks contained a recipe for this legendary whiskey drink back in 1862. Unlike other cocktails that took a long time to rise to popularity, the whiskey sour has been popular from its birth all the way until, well, now. Wisconsin newspaper Waukesha Plain Dealer once said in an article that referred to the whiskey sour as the cardinal point in American drinking. Sometimes when you make a perfect drink, it stays perfect for over 100 years. And number one on this list today is the mint julep. Now, originally, the mint julep was rumored to be consumed for its medicinal properties. Farmers would drink them in the morning, much like people now drink coffee, for the extra boost to get them going. The mint julep also became the official drink of the Kentucky Derby in 1938. The word julep is of a Parisian heritage, and it's derived from the word gulab, which is a Persian sweetened rose water, much like the syrup used to make the minty fresh beverage we know today. In Arabic, gulab is known as julab, which became julapium when translated into Latin. Since jalapeño syrup was used to make the drink, it worked its way into the name to form what we know today as the mint julep. The fact that the liquor of choice for these drinks is bourbon explains the southern popularity and the prominence that the mint julep has in connection with the world-famous Kentucky Derby. So there we go. That is the JNC Top 10 list. Then get out there and try some of those recipes out there while you're drinking. And Philip said that was my dad's drink, was the whiskey sour. It's a good one. I feel like that's a solid cocktail that never disappoints. Never ever disappoints. Let's send out a happy birthday to my friend Becky, celebrating a birthday today. She was the reason that we had that soiree at the house last night. So I blame Rebecca for having to double up on my coffee today. Interesting story. This one goes back 11,000 years, if you can believe that. They found some footprints in what they are calling giant sloth puddles. Yep. 11,000 years ago, there were giant sloths, if you can imagine. So, more than 11,000 years ago, young children trekking with their families through what is now White Sands National Park in New Mexico discovered the stuff of childhood dreams. Muddy puddles made from the footprints of giant ground sloths. I think I'm going to sneeze here, guys. Woo! That's right, Philip. Just 11,000 years ago. A few things are more enticing to a youngster than a muddy puddle. The children, likely 4 in all, raced and splashed through the sloppy sloth trackway, leaving their own footprints stamped in the playa, which is a dried-up lake bed. Those footprints were preserved over millennia, leaving evidence of this prehistoric caper, which new research finds. The finding shows that children living in North America during the Pleistocene epoch, which is 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago, liked a good splash. Matthew Bennett, a professor of environmental and geographical sciences in Bournemouth University in the UK, says all kids like to play with muddy puddles, which is essentially what it is. He's studying the trackway there. Bennett has traveled to the White Sands more than a dozen times in the past 5 years, locating and analyzing footprints left by Ice Age humans and megafauna, and animals heavier than 99 pounds. He and his colleagues have already made a number of remarkable finds, including human footprints stamped in the playa. And they were dating back between 21,000 and 23,000 years ago, which are the earliest unequivocal evidence of people in the Americas. That's right, Sid's ancestors from the Ice Age films. The discovery of the children's and the sloth's muddy prints have been published in a peer-reviewed journal, but Bennett plans to write about them in the coming months as a methods paper to help scientists who are studying similar trackways determine how many people were present and how old those individuals were when they created the tracks. For instance, the tracks that Bennett analyzed aren't an accurate representation of the children's feet, as the squishy mud distorted each print, but Bennett was able to compare the preserved smeary footprints with modern growth data to deduce the children's ages. He found that there were more than 30 footprints crisscrossing the sloth trackway, likely from children between the ages of 5 and 8 years old. The now extinct giant ground sloth left its trackway after walking through the area on all fours. Each sloth print is actually a double print, Bennett said. As it puts its forepaws down, the rear paw comes and steps on it. This combination of the front and back paw gives the prints kidney shape. Each of the giant ground sloth footprints measure nearly 16 inches long, and the beast would have been anywhere from the size of a cow to as big as a bear, Bennett said. The footprints are shallow, about an inch, 1.2 inches deep, but it seems that was deep enough for them to fill with water and intrigue the children. We see children's tracks very frequently at White Sands, but most likely because, just like today's children, these youngsters raced around, leaving hundreds of footprints a day. The children and adults in the group were almost certainly foragers who stuck together while searching for food. In the past, you'd have just taken your kid to work. And if work was walking across to the former lake bed in order to track an animal, you would have taken your child with you. It's challenging to date footprints without a detailed stratigraphy, or studying the rock layers is what that is, of the site without finding any organic matter, which can be radiocarbon dated. But based on this, on the discovery of the 23,000-year-old prints, and the fact that the ground sloths went extinct around 11,000 years ago, these once splashy children prints were likely made between 23,000 and 11,000 years ago. You know, what's 13,000 years difference when you're going back that far? Who cares, right? Very interesting. Kids will be kids even 11,000 years ago. I thought that was an interesting story. I had another story here to tell you guys. And now I can't... Oh, yes, this is a good one. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you that you should reach out to your friends. Reach out to your old friends. They appreciate it more than you think. And I'm going to give you the study that says why. You're listening to Jams and Coffee in the Morning with me, Brad Brock. And, I appreciate you. The hotline is open, 772-888. 1596. We'll be right back. Here's the Killbillies.
So from ourselves, but we were happy for the ocean in between. Looking for a new start, we sadly said farewells, and we found all of that and more than we had ever bargained for. Cause round here no one cares much where you're from, just as long as you got it going on. Instead of who do you think you are, we said who sowing seeds for the last shreds of a promised dream. ourselves, but still ladies and gentlemen, I'd say. We carved out a living with help from all our friends. I play music, Christy, well, she rents boats by the day. 'Cause round here no one cares much where you're from, just as long as you know right from wrong. Instead of who do you think you are, we say who do you want to be. Though it ain't easy, I'm out here sowing seeds for the last shreds of a promised dream. It's not all sunshine and roses, bad apples, yeah, there's a few. Suicides and overdoses, they break our heart, yeah, they break it in two. As the worst year of our lives crashes down around us still, I'm so glad that I'm alive and sucking on this bitter pill. 'Cause round here no one cares much where you're from, we just care that you keep keeping on. Instead of who do you think you are, we say who do you want to be. And though it ain't easy, I'm out here sowing seeds for the last shreds of a promised dream. And though it ain't easy, I'm out here sowing seeds for the last shreds of a promised dream.
I got a band of bells strapped across my foot, and a drum under the other that won't stay put. Keeps running away just like my heart, 'cause loving anybody just seems so hard. Oh, I'm amazed I've lived this long, living life this way. Don't you know, when the song is done, it's time to go. When the song is done, it's time to go. She got a heart of gold and an angel smile. I got this whole guitar and a soul band's wild. She loves me more than she loved me then. I'm not sure I'll be back again. Oh, I'm amazed I've lived this long, living life this way. Don't you know, when the song is done, it's time to go. When the song is done, it's time to go. This long, living life this way. Oh, don't you know, when the song is done, it's time to go. Oh, I'm amazed I've lived this long, living life this way. Oh, don't you know, when the song is done, it's time to go.
one by the infamous Brad Brock. You're listening to J&C in the morning. Hotline's open at 772-888-1596. Thank you so much for tuning in. I was mentioning before the break that you should reach out to your old friends because they appreciate it more than you think, a study says. So if you're thinking of reaching out to old friends but nervous it'll be awkward or they won't appreciate it, you should make those phone calls or send a text or email, according to new research. A study published July 11th in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who often underestimate how much their friends and old acquaintances appreciate hearing from them. Peggy Liu is the study's lead author. She said if there's been someone that you've been hesitating to reach out to, that you've lost touch with perhaps, you should go ahead and reach out. They're likely to appreciate it much more than you think. Liu is the Ben L. Fryer Chair in Marketing and Associate Professor of Business Administration at the University of Pittsburgh, Katz Graduate School of Business. The researchers conducted a series of 13 experiments with more than 5,900 participants to see if people could accurately estimate how much their friends value them reaching out and what forms of communication make the biggest impact. In these experiments, reaching out was defined as a phone call, text, email, or note, or a small gift. The experiments found that initiators significantly underestimated the recipient's reaction to the check-in. Miriam Kermayer is a clinical psychologist and friendship expert who was not involved in the study, but she said it's often less about these kinds of grand overtures that we can make in our relationships and more about the small moments of letting a friend know that we're thinking of them. The recipient appreciated the communication more when it was surprising, such as when it was from someone the recipient did not regularly contact, or when the participant and the recipient did not consider themselves to be close friends, the study found. When you feel that sense of positive purpose, Liu said, it further boosts the appreciation that you feel. Relationships, including friendships, can be one of the strongest predictors of how healthy we are and how long we live, and they can boost our overall well-being. Kermeyer said, those types of small reach-outs with lower stakes can go a long way towards strengthening relationships early on, getting a friendship off the ground, and maintaining them over time. And I've always said myself that my relationships and friendships are really the most important thing to me. The connection to these people, to you, Philip and Paul and Jordan, and anybody else tuning in here. Just to let you know on a personal note, I'm always open for somebody reaching out to contact me. I think that's lovely, and I do try to my best to reach out to people I might have lost touch with or haven't spoken to in a while, and I'm happy that I would say the majority of my friendships, we can go months, years without talking and get together and pick up right where we left off, like no time had passed at all, and I love that, and it's really nice to reconnect with those types of relationships. So get out there if you've been thinking about hitting up that old friend. Today's the day. Get out there and give them a shout. Well, shameless plugs here for you. As I mentioned, up tomorrow will be the JNC radio station. We're going to have that back predominantly for these types of shows, so it's easier to tune in without having to get on YouTube. You just want to listen to the show, but there'll be music playing all day, and hopefully some other talk programming happening on that station as well. So get out there, get the Live 365 app. It's completely free, and there's tons of options for radio on that app. So without feeling like you're being sold to by iHeartRadio all the time. So much more independent, and we will be on there starting tomorrow. What else? Be sure to catch Paul's live stream on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. His biggest happy hour in half an hour. Always has fun guests and interesting content on that show. So catch that. Hopefully we'll be getting that to be streamed on the radio app as well. We'll have to go over that, Paul. What else? I will be performing at the Tipsy Tiki again in Fort Pierce tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Hopefully the weather cooperates. Last time it was a little rainy. Hopefully it's a little bit better this time there. Cool venue, great spot, and hope to see you there if you're local in the area. This week on the JNC podcast, it's National Scotch Day. So we're going to be talking about all things Scotch and, playing some games and doing some other Scotch-related activities there on the Jams and Cocktails podcast Wednesday night, 8 p.m. What else? What else is going on out there? If you've got any shameless plugs, be sure to post them on the Jams and Cocktails Facebook page. I'm happy to repost that. I think that's it. For the most part, you guys. We almost made it all the way to 9 o'clock. Again, I appreciate you all tuning in here at Jams and Coffee in the Morning. I got to go get ready to go tour a cruise ship. So I'm going to let you guys get back to your lives there and bid you adieu. I certainly hope that you have a great rest of your Monday. Get over those Monday blues. Remember, it's National Wine and Cheese Day, so maybe a little lunch idea there for you. At any rate, I'll see you back here tomorrow, 7 a.m. for another edition of Jams and Coffee in the Morning. My name is Brad Rock. That does it for me. Take care. See you next time.
Tune in again tomorrow morning for the latest local buzz, national headlines, music news and more on JNC in the Morning, right here on Facebook and YouTube.